So, hello everyone, and welcome back for another Person 1, Person 2 reading in Divine Time, right? Catches you whenever it's meant to catch you. The decks I've used today, I've used the Alchemy England Tarot, 1977, the Tarot of Sexual Magic, the Chakra Insight Oracle, White Light Oracle, Universe Has Your Back deck, and the Power of Love deck. I also used my own custom deck that I use as my descriptor deck. Okay, it's my energy descriptor deck. Those are all the little mini cards that you'll be seeing throughout the reading. So, getting into this message. Person number 1. The top of the deck is the Hierophant. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Coins. Okay. Just with that overall energy, especially because this Hierophant card, I couldn't help but feel like this person has really rigid beliefs. Really rigid belief systems that definitely keep them feeling as if they are almost like living to die, okay? Or feeling like they're dead while living, if that makes more sense. Feeling like they're dead while living. There's no actual joy or passion or feeling of purpose, and I think the underlying issue is because they have this Two of Coins, Two of Pentacles underlying issue, which is the juggling match between the ideal and the real. And I feel like they're putting on a performance, okay? Because what I'm kind of being shown is like someone who's juggling two balls, right? Someone who's juggling two balls, and they're trying to keep both balls from falling, when the reality is, I think that they're distracted with the performance of it. Okay, like, why are you juggling? There's so many other things you could be doing. Why are you juggling the ideal and the real, instead of just committing to one? Okay, or the integration of, right, to make them both the same thing. I feel like this person's energy has a way of being super defensive, to where they may or may not realize, because this Hierophant card is wearing a Medusa pin, okay? And Medusa, if you remember, turns people to stone. Like, don't look at me, and I'll turn you to stone. I think this person gets very defensive when people see right through them, okay? And completely shuts them down or renders them dead to them, okay? I think that's kind of their go-to reaction when they feel like someone sees right through their wounding. And it's interesting because what's around the Reaper, the skeleton's neck, is a blood rune or a transmutation rune. And as we get into the reading, the Six of Swords clarifying the Four of Coins, the word blood is actually written on the card with the same skeleton. There's a compass on the third eye, with like a map all over the skull. I feel like this person, has a way of, instead of looking at the self, because even when Medusa looked at herself, right, in the reflection, she turned to stone. I think this person is afraid of looking at themselves. It's much easier to blame other people and say, you're dead to me, right? And yet also, in a weird way, like, be out for blood, like revengeful. I kind of got that energy too. Like, not just pointing the finger and blaming someone else, like it's your fault, but to like prove it to themselves that it's their fault, it's like punishing them outright. So, this person's energy is interesting. Okay, as we get into the actual cards, the descriptor cards from my descriptor deck is bitter, depression and self-loathing, and self-secure, and each one of them is confirming energy within the column of cards that's clarifying. So bitter, we've got the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords is clarified by the Knight of Chalices. So the Eight of Swords is mental prisons, right? Being trapped inside their own mind, creating blocks and impossibilities where there is no need for it. Possibly around communicating vulnerability, okay? Communicating from a vulnerable place. That's real with the self, right? That's real with the self, because to be completely fair, if you're trapped in your head and it doesn't feel good, you kind of have to get out of your head and into your heart. You know what I mean? If it doesn't feel good to be in your head, then you got to get into your heart. And if it doesn't feel good in your heart, then you really got to get into your soul, right? You got to get into your soul and figure out what is going on in there. That everything is painful, right? You have to do the self-work. I think this person is bitter at the way things have turned out, because I don't feel like this person understands truly what the divine mirror is. And or if they're familiar with the mirror of things, I think they're in complete fucking denial that the mirror exists, okay? And that there is such a thing as karma, that there is such a thing as energy, and what you put out is what you receive, right? Like attracts like. It's a universal law. You know, we all have vibration. It's a universal law. Our energy goes out into the universe and reflects back to us, manifests for us. I don't think this person understands that what is going on in their subconscious and unconscious layers is manifesting because they're refusing to heal what is on their subconscious and unconscious layers. All right, I think they're very, very consciously blaming and pointing the finger and possibly being vindictive or spiteful, or has been, right? Or has been like that for a long time. Like it's all your fault. Like there's a lack of self-ownership. There's a lack of self-ownership. And with the self-secure card coming out, I feel like this person is very comfortable in being the victim and blaming other people for their shit. Okay, my life is fucked up. It's because everybody else fucks it up. Everybody's fucked up. And it's like, no, honey, your energy is fucked up. Your perspective, right? Your rigid belief system that keeps you feeling like you're dead while living, or that you're just living to die. That's what's fucked up. Okay, and that's what's continuously manifesting in your outer experience. This person, depression and self-loathing, is clarified by the Seven of Swords with the Eight of Wands, right, or the Eight of Roses. And this is about lying to the self about what messages they're getting from spirit, what messages they're getting in their soul. They're denying the synchronicities. They're denying the pings. They're denying what their soul is like. You know, you really should just do this. You know, you really should just do that. You know, or they're neglecting to take the advice of other people in their outer experience, because, you know, in the one-way and two-way mirror of things, people in our outer experience are either going to be completely fucking toxic and reiterate and confirm and validate what is already toxic to you, or you're going to have that one or two people that are like, you know, if it hurts you so much, why don't you try and make right on it? You know, if it bothers you like this, why don't you seek to resolve it? Like, how can you resolve it, right? And there's that one person, and then that's the advice. You're like, no way, that's impossible, right? But that's kind of the person you should be listening to, if that makes sense, because they're your earth angel, right? They're your earth angel. Trying to get you back on point. They're your two-way mirror trying to get you back on point. The part of you that is still light despite all of your overpowering darkness, right? Trying to shine through for you. Self-secure, clarified by the Four of Coins and the Six of Swords. This person really does have no problem moving on and kind of being out for blood, or focusing on very specific things to maintain control. Right? So, as light as self-secure energy is, because it's not afraid, I think that when it's paired up with the rest of these energies, it kind of puts it in a skewed bend, right? It's almost like taking the light and bending it into something that it's not intended for. I feel as if this person has a lot to foundationally stand on within themselves, that they're not necessarily afraid of their outer world security because they trust what they're doing. I think the real problem is mental and psychological. I think there's serious belief system stuff that needs to be reset. And I think there's some serious mental blocks. This person is more likely to say, fuck it and move on than try and evolve. And I do feel like this person's lying to themselves. That Seven of Swords, especially because the one sword in the center of the Seven of Swords is pointing towards the Eight of Swords. I think this person is dead set on believing their mental prisons, believing the impossibilities, believing they have no choice, believing that they can point this finger and pretend that their wounds aren't there, creating their reality. This person is not taking responsibility for their energy. Okay? They're not taking responsibility for their energy. They don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it. It's really stuck. So the work is in the mind. Okay? There's some really toxic shit going on in the mind. And it really does foundationally start at the belief systems, right? Those really rigid belief systems that probably need to shift. You know, like we were talking about not believing in karma, or not believing in the healing of the soul. Like your actions and things don't matter when they do, you know. Yeah, I feel like this person doesn't feel like it matters. Like, oh, they made mistakes. Who cares? Who cares? Oh, I hurt this person. Who cares? Oh, I was wrong. Who cares? Oh, I sabotaged this person. Who cares? You know, oh, I took from this person, stole from this person, hurt this person, and they didn't deserve it, but I believe they did, so who cares? Like, it's that kind of, I'm not taking responsibility for myself shit. Like, it doesn't even matter. And it's like, I would suggest to this person to really think about the metaphor of Anubis and the scales at the end of our lifetime, where our soul is weighed against a feather. Because for every time you say, I don't care, and it's still burning and digging in your subconscious because it's not healed, that's what makes your soul heavy. That's what keeps you from moving forward. You know, that your soul would be heavier than the feather, and you're just going to end up reincarnating back here and doing this whole life bullshit again. Right? So I strongly suggest a person, number one, that you start looking in the divine mirror of things. Okay, who is your earth angel in the experience? Because we always have one, no matter where we are. We always have at least one earth angel, right, who would talk some sense to us despite everybody else. I would really recommend putting your shadows aside, putting your self-loathing aside, your depression aside, and your bitterness aside, and saying, I don't want to feel this way anymore. It doesn't feel good to feel this way. I'm going to start to shift to fix it, right? I'm going to correct myself. I'm going to correct myself. I'm going to start putting my pieces back together, right? As we move into person number 2. All right, as we move in to person number 2, we've got the 3 of Swords on the bottom of the deck, and the King of Wands on the top of the deck. Now, just with the overall energies, I think that this person is taking what is essentially dark magic. And when I say dark magic or dark spell work, it's nasty words cast at them. Okay? It doesn't have to be some ritual with sacrifice and whatever. Okay? It doesn't have to be like that. But dark magic or dark spell work is literally someone casting shade at them. Someone saying, oh yeah, they're just a fucking asshole. Oh yeah, they're a fucking liar, when maybe they're not an asshole and they're not a liar, right? But there's dark energy being cast at them. I do truly feel like it's going to backfire. All right, just to be really clear, I do feel like it's going to backfire. I think someone is saying all this negative shit and waiting for your downfall, but you're not falling. Okay, I truly do feel like it's only going to piss them off, whoever is casting the negative spell work at you, okay? Because I feel like you are, especially because there is a sword sitting on the bed with them, this masculine and feminine who are very intimate with each other. Like the masculine is playing the harp or the soul song for the feminine, and the feminine is in a very vulnerable and open, I feel safe kind of position, very comfortable position, and enjoying the reality, very much so. Enjoying the song, right? And I think someone hates, because you could see that dark, shadowy feminine in the background, right? And I say feminine because it's not necessarily a female, it's a jaded or bitter heart space, right? This is someone who is bitter in their heart space, or feeling hurt in their heart space, and casting negative words that are not true at whoever this other person is. All right. King of Wands being on top, I do feel like whoever person number 2 is actually pretty in alignment with themselves. Okay. I feel as if the mind loves the heart and the heart loves the mind with that King of Wands. I think there's a certain mastery of spirit, mastery of soul, which is probably why they're in the two-way mirror of person number 1. Okay. To show person number 1 what being whole and loving the self actually looks like when you're not disconnected, or separate from yourself, right? I really do feel, and I feel like this person needs no one, right? Need codependency. This person doesn't need anybody, okay? Because they're whole within the self, and they have both of their inner aspects, feminine and masculine, working together and cooperating and being there for each other. I really don't feel like this person, codependency is off the table, need is off the table. This person is a very independent, creative force. And when I say creative force, I mean an intender, right? An intender. And as we get into the descriptive cards, that comes through. We have transparent in the light, but in the reverse. We have intentional, manifester, and perceptive with dishonorable and shameful. And when I saw those 2 cards come out together, I instantly thought, especially because the High Priestess is with that column of cards, this person sees right through other people's bullshit, right through other people's energy, right through other people's dishonor, right through other people's shame. All right, I don't think this person has any problem separating themselves from this that kind of energy and seeing it for what it is. And as we get into the columns, right, the transparent in reverse with the 9 of Cups and the Judgment card. Now, the shadow side of transparent is hides and keeps secrets or being ashamed, but it's in reverse and it's in the light aspect. So I'm feeling like this person, I don't feel like they're hiding or keeping secrets, but I feel like it's either on a if you don't ask, I won't tell type basis, or they're just not putting all of their business or cards out there, even if they do seem relatively transparent, right? I feel like this person is not ashamed of whatever truth they hold, but that there's still some things that they're kind of just keeping to themselves because it's just no one's business, and if no one asks, then it doesn't really matter to tell. If someone asks, I think they tell. I don't think they're keeping secrets or hiding anything. If someone asks, I think they tell. But it's like until someone asks, they're not telling type energy. 9 of Cups, Judgment card. I feel like this person, because I feel like the character we're talking about is the feminine, okay? Because the feminine tends to be the focal point in this entire person's reading, okay? So you could be a female or resonate as a feminine, dominant type person, okay? The 9 of Chalices, I think they are wanted. They are wished for by people. I do think there's resistance. I think the feminine energy, especially because if you look at the 9 of Cups, the feminine energy is sitting with the masculine energy, and the masculine energy is trying to like pull her close, and she's kind of like pulling her hands back, like, no, like I'll be close to you, but I don't want to be that intimate with you. And I think someone is wishing for them to be more intimate because they know, Judgment card, I think they know this person is family material. Okay, this feminine energy is what they're missing. I think this feminine energy is what they're missing. And I think the feminine energy does want a very solid and happy family dynamic. And that they're really picking up on energetic cues as far as alignment goes. And yeah, they have wishes too, but they're not just going to go with the first person that shows up type thing. I think they're holding out. And that might be what's going on as far as not being transparent. I think the feminine energy knows who they are drawn to and who they're not on a very intimate conversation with self type level. Like this person, something's off or something's not in alignment, don't know what it is, but they're not my person. Like they just kind of know, they're reading the intuitive signs and sensings and heeding them. And they may or may not be able to explain that to who they're dealing with. But I think they're very aware of that inner conversation. Okay, whoever person number 2 is, I think they're very aware of the inner conversation. They have a specific dream in mind, a specific vision that they want to create and manifest, and people are either in exact alignment with that or they're not. And I feel this person is on a 99%, is not 100 type thing. Okay, because they are in as I said at the beginning, kind of they're in alignment. Like, and you're either in or you're out. Like, they're 99% is not 100. 99% in alignment means you're out of alignment, right? You're out of alignment. 1% out is out. So I feel this person is kind of running at 100 and not settling for less than 100. Otherwise, they're out of alignment. So this person may not be completely forthright unless asked. But I feel they're very much in touch with their truth, okay? Very much in touch with their truth and their soul song. As we continue with intentional manifester with the 9 of Wands and the Ace of Wands for a total of 10 Wands. The feminine in this card is very much interested in the gentleman that she's with, right, in the image. It's not like the first image where she's kind of resistant and, pulling her hands back. Like, no, in the second 9, she has her arms wrapped around this person. She's touching his chest, she has an arm around his neck, and she's leaning into him, and it's much more of a fit. And it's the kind of chemistry, the kind of person she ends up going home and feeling really vulnerable with and open with. And it feels soul aligned, right? That the intimacy feels natural, that the vulnerability feels natural, that the safety feels natural, and the desire feels natural. It's not forced, right? Where person number 1 was more, the heart space was feeling forced. I think, as this person continues, I think that's what they're really looking for. They're looking for someone who nurtures their mind. Because the mind can run away with fear. The mind can run away with doubt. And I think they're truly seeking someone who understands their own mental shortcomings, who can pick up on that and nurture them in good energy, instead of triggering them further into shadow. I think they're really seeking to find someone that relieves where they've been left feeling like a victim, right? Where they were left feeling like a martyr. Because the 9 of Wands is the wounded healer. The Ace of Wands is the new spark, feeling inspired. And it's going from 9 wands, which is spiritually heavy, to 1 wand, which is fucking light and inspired and passionate, because the weight's off. I think person number 2 is intending to manifest, quite literally, someone who takes the weights off the soul. Okay? No expectations. It's a very love me for who I am, authentic type dynamic. And I feel it's because person number 2 loves themselves that way. I love myself for who I am. I'm good enough as I am. I know that I deserve what I put into myself from another, and vice versa, because that's what I give. I give other people what I give myself, right? This freedom in being type thing. And as we get into the final column, perceptive and dishonorable, shameful, with the High Priestess and the Six of Pentacles, okay? The High Priestess in this card is holding both keys. She's got the Akashic Record, or the Book of Knowledge, in her lap. She's got abundance growing all around her. She's conscious of where she's going, because she's wearing these like gypsy type bangles around her ankles. I don't feel like this person hides the direction that they're going. I think she makes music as she walks so that other people can follow her song, right? Kind of leading by example, like a teacher, but also knowing she's a student. I really feel like those are the two keys, the teacher and the student, and she's holding both. She also has a cat. She's playing with the cat at her feet. The cat's kind of chilling with her feet, possibly licking her feet. But I feel like this person is very much walking to the rhythm of their own step and truly does see through people. Like, people may have everybody else fooled, like, oh yeah, they have so much honor, or oh yeah, they should be so proud, or, oh yeah, they do such an amazing job, blah, blah, blah. But people are saying that because of the facade that those people put on. It's a facade. The honorable is a facade that person number 2 sees right through. Oh, they do such a good job, and blah, 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 and that's just a facade that they're putting on. And person number 2 sees right through it, right? And I do feel like person number 2 is I feel like they're solo right now. I don't feel like they're going to be solo for long. I really don't, because the 6 of Pentacles there, the feminine is sitting by herself in the room, just like the feminine is the High Priestess is sitting by herself in the room, but someone is watching her through the window, right? Someone's watching her through the window in the 6 of Coins, and the 6 of Coins is about energy exchange, right? I have what you need, so let me give it to you. And if the High Priestess has both keys, teacher and student, then she understands energy exchange, right? If she's 99% is not 100, and she's running at 100, not accepting 99% from anybody who would be close to her, I think she's very aware of energy exchange, okay? And she's seeing right through people. I think she's seeing right through people, to the point that it's probably annoying for them, right? It's probably annoying for person number 1 to see the way that they do, right? Or person number 1, person number 2. It is probably annoying for person number 2 to see through people the way they do, especially if they are dealing with knowing person number 1, okay? Because obviously they wouldn't be in the same reading if they didn't know each other. So addressing the dynamic between these two. Okay. Addressing the dynamic between these two. They may or may not have been romantic partners. They may or may not have been longtime friends. They may or may not have been family. Okay, because there's nothing here that specifically distinguishes romance. Okay, there's not like all kinds of lovey-dovey cards out here. So it could be any kind of dynamic, however it resonates for you. We have one person who is really bitter and depressed and hates their life, hates their choices, hates their energy, hates what their energy manifests for them, but is really fucking stubborn. Potentially strong Taurean energy with the Hierophant there, or a significant Venus placement, right, with the Hierophant there. Possibly strong air energy too that has detrimental placements or planetary bodies in it. So person number 1, I feel like I feel like they kind of hate that they're not more like person number 2 and don't want to admit it. You know, like, how come person number 2 is okay? How come person number 2 doesn't feel angry like I do? How come person number 2 doesn't feel bitter like I do? How come person number 2 isn't depressed like I am? Like, it's almost like I think person number 1 has casting a lot of fucking hate shade at person number 2. Okay? I think person number 1 is casting a lot of fucking hate shade at person number 2. Especially if they're in a dynamic where they're in each other's lives, because it's possible that they're not, but it's possible that they are too. You know what I mean? If these two people are actively in each other's lives, I think person number 1 is like cursing person number 2 under their breath. They fucking hate this. They fucking hate that, or whatever. You know, I wish they would just this. I wish they would just that. How could they do this? How could they treat me like that? How could they say it? It's kind of like that really fucking bitter, spewing kind of energy, like cursing someone under their breath. I don't think person number 1 realizes how much that is literally going to backfire on them. That energy is fucking horrible. And like attracts like that's the vibration they're putting out. I think this person, if they are aware of the divine mirror, is saying, fuck it, it's not real, and they're in denial. You know, like, and they just want to be bitter, and they just want to be vindictive, and they just want to be spewing whatever hateful energy. Like, they're completely consumed with their own toxic shit. I think person number 1, has a rude awakening manifesting, to be completely fair, because they're definitely not meeting person 2 at person 2's level. Like, if we're talking about 99% is not 100, and things that are in misalignment can't stay in their reality together, if they are in each other's reality, there's going to be something that absolutely pulls them apart and separates them. Because I don't think person number 2 is willing to go down to person number 1's level. They're not willing to drop their energy to be on person number 1's level and put their energetic alignment to shit for them. It's like, get on my fucking level or get out of my life, right? In the nicest way they could do that, which is probably not saying anything and just minding their business, because person number 2 knows who's in alignment and who's not. They see right through it. They know that person number 1 is bitter. They know that person number 1 is digging themselves a fucking energetic hole. They know that person 1 is misaligned, which is probably why they're keeping some space. If anything, they're keeping space. I think person number 2 wishes for a really happy family dynamic, blood, soul, or otherwise, right? And I think that spirit is guiding them. I think that spirit is guiding them towards what is essentially a beautiful dream manifest. I think person number 1 is going... If person number 1 doesn't flip their fucking rigid, stubborn belief system, they're not going to end up learning from person number 2. They're going to fall into what is essentially deep. If they think they're depressed now, they're going to fall into a deep depression, watching person number 2 kind of move on and succeed without them, okay, or beyond them. That's the dynamic between the two of them. Now, getting into the guidance cards, okay. Getting into the guidance cards. We had creativity, which is the throat chakra, and Queen of the Nagas. Where did I put my books? There they are. Yeah, the Queen of the Nagas. So I wanted to read, because I typically don't read from my Chakra Insight Oracle book during regular readings, but because this is a collective, it can resonate with anybody. I did want to actually read the throat chakra card, creativity, for you, because there might be something that resonates in here for you in divine time that hits you like lightning and pops an epiphany, right? So the creativity card, and I'll get into the little descriptor energies in a second. Creativity as guidance, right? As guidance and stuff from your higher self, from spirit. It's about imagination, expression, originality, and passion. It says, become an active steward for the creative inspiration that is ready to come through you. Whether we are conscious of it or not, we are continually contributing to the story of life through the way we think, feel, speak, and act, and through the creations that we bring into the world. Throughout the ages, great masters have recognized creativity as both a doorway into and an expression of the divine. The Latin word creare means to cause to exist, suggesting that when we open ourselves to the creative energy within, we are quite literally bringing new life into the world. This is one of our greatest gifts and responsibilities in life. We are each unique creative beings, whether through painting murals or writing poetry or playing music or dancing or baking or growing businesses or a garden. The only limits of what we can create are those that we impose upon ourselves or allow others to impose upon us. We can create happiness, we can create joy, we can create families, we can create empires. It is time to expand your experience of your true creative potential. If you are feeling uninspired or creatively blocked, the best first step is often just to begin. Create a space where you feel open and safe to express. Give yourself time to explore your creativity with no attachment to the outcome. Don't try to control or confine it. No rules or judgment allowed. Just allow yourself to enjoy the process. Let it grow and evolve. It will show you what it wants to be. When we open to the creative essence within, we realize that every task and moment is an opportunity to bring some new energy to life. As we do this consciously in different ways each day, we cultivate the most important and lasting artistic expression of all, ourselves. Open yourself to embody and express your creative potential, no matter what form it takes. Give birth to your ideas. Let them rise into manifest form in the world. Now is the time. Live a little bit each day in a carefree and creative way. This is allowing yourself to get out of the mental fears of things, the mental blocks of things, the painful aspects of experience, and just being, okay, what do I want to create today that feels good? Do I want to create a healthy, strengthening relationship with this person? Do I want to create something beautiful for myself to enjoy? What do I want to do? You know, and it's kind of putting everything else back there, and letting it dissolve. It's not even about shoving it or burying it. It's about letting it dissolve and giving yourself a clean, energetic slate to manifest from, right? Throat chakra, if you think about it, is anything that comes through our mouth and through our hands, because if you put your hands out, long ways, like you're a huge T, and then bend your elbows in, where do your hands line up? They line up with your throat, right? The hands are extensions of the throat chakra. So anything that comes out of our mouth, anything that we do with our hands is creative. It's all creative. It's all truth-based. And it's that energy in which the divine meets our energetic heart alignment, right? Our energetic vibration. That's where our energy manifests from, as within and so without. Everything comes through the throat chakra. So with that being the guidance, it's really remembering that you write your story. You write your story with what you choose to do and what you don't choose to do. With what you choose to create and what you don't choose to create, it writes your story. You are the creative artist behind your life. You are the writer. You are the painter. You are the one that puts on the performance, right? This is your story. So what kind of story are you writing? Right? Are you the bitter villain in the story? Are you the depressed and, I hate life and, everybody else in the story kind of talks about you for being so fucking down and out all the time? Like, what kind of character are you in your story? Are you the hero? Are you the champion? Are you the one that never gives up? Are you the one that, self-corrects and fixes their mistakes and everybody appreciates knowing you because, you're not a fucking villainous asshole, What kind of character are you writing in your story as yourself? What kind of character do you want to be if you're not the kind of character you enjoy being? If you don't enjoy the character you are, how are you rewriting it? How are you making an effort to rewrite that character's actions? Well, every time someone lets this character down, this character goes on a fucking emotional bender and starts, spewing hatred and everybody avoids them like the plague. Okay, well, the next time this character, someone says or does something they don't like, instead of going on an emotional bender and spewing all kinds of shit that people, avoid like the plague, maybe instead they just feel like, you know what, I'm just going to be creative and do something beautiful instead. I'm going to go take a walk by the river, or take a walk in the woods, or take a walk on the beach and clear my head, or I'm just going to go and connect with someone who loves me, whose advice they would never hurt me, and consider what they're saying, right? Maybe I need to own up to a mistake. Maybe I need to better protect my energy, right? Maybe I need to be more conscious of how my presence and energy affects other people around me. Maybe I need to let that fucking hater's voice roll off my back like it doesn't fucking matter, and not take their shit personal, or, take offense to their behavior because their actions say everything about them and not me. Their actions say everything about their alignment. It has nothing to do with me. That's creativity. Okay? Now, with that said, the two cards, right? The two descriptor cards, we got equal energy exchange on one side and lazy. And I think this is the big thing that people need to be aware of, right? Either you're in equal energy exchange, which is like attracts like, my vibe is equal to your vibe, or you're being fucking lazy and you're not up in your vibe. You're not up in your vibe. I mean, the highest you can go is 100. That's manifesting at 100. All in. And either you're going all in with people and you're helping them all in on their level, or you're not, which is spiritually being lazy. It's being lazy with your soul work. I don't want to heal. I don't want to be fair. I don't want to consider them the way they consider me, or would consider me if I considered them more. You know what I mean? It's got to be equal. Whoever is putting in the least amount of energy, the least amount of soul work, people can only meet them on their level with what they give. So if someone whose energy is shit wants someone whose energy is good to do more for me, do more for me, do more for me, it's like, break your back for me. If the other person's like, dude, you're only putting in 35% energy, you're only putting in 35% consideration, 35%, whatever for yourself. I can only meet you on what you give. I can only match the energy you put in. If you're at 35%, I can only give you 35. I can only match you at 35. Even if I got 100, anytime I interact with you, I can only match you at 35. I want to do more. I would do more. Energetically speaking, I would do more. But I need you to do more for yourself. I need you to do more for consideration of me or whoever. It's too selfish, right? It's too selfish. It's not considerate. So I feel like the real guidance is understanding where energy exchange needs to become equal and where you're being lazy or putting off your soul work, right? And that's where we're being creative. How much are you making other people write your story for you? How much power are you giving other people over your story and how you feel and what kind of character you are, versus how you are 100% creating your own character and not allowing other characters to dictate the outcome of your character story? How much power and control are you giving to the other characters in your life? Well, I can't have this because this person won't do that for me. Okay, but is that person not doing it for you because you're capable? Or is that person not doing it for you because you're not considering them enough to do it for them, or for them to do it for you? You know what I mean? So, energy goes two ways. Energy goes two ways. If you're being 100% selfish, chances are whoever you're trying to pull energy from is respectfully going to mirror it and be 100% selfish and say, no, your motives are selfish. And I'm not buying into it. No, you know. The other card that we got, Queen of the Nagas. Okay. Queen of the Nagas. It says, a sacred task exists for you to fulfill. It is to be found through connection to your heart. Be open only to those most authentic teachings which prove helpful to your continued spiritual progress and personal freedom. Be open only to those most authentic teachings which prove helpful to your continued spiritual progress and personal freedom. Cleansing your body, mind, heart, and soul will be of particular benefit at this time. Powerful, subtle energies are helping ensure your success. Believe that many positive synchronicities and unexpected allies will rally to support you. The mysterious beings, known as the Nagas, are recognized in spiritual traditions across India, Nepal, and Tibet, as well as in other shamanic and cultural traditions. Nagas are connected to water and are extremely sensitive to pollutions and poisons of all kinds. They become disturbed when waters are polluted. Since our bodies are composed of more water than anything else, when the waters of our planet are disturbed, so too are we. Certain Nagas, including the Naga Queen, are emanations of enlightened higher beings. The Eastern goddess of compassion, Kuan Yin, is said to assume the form of a benevolent Naga to help beings in need of her protection. Enlightened Naga beings are very helpful to humans, protecting secret wisdoms and offering powerful teachings to those who are wise and committed enough to use them for the greater good. The Naga Queen helps such practitioners overcome the numerous poisons that abound in our world, find deep emotional healing, and make significant spiritual progress. The Queen of the Nagas brings two messages. The first is that as you maintain your integrity and take your emotional healing journey, you are placing yourself within a powerful field of spiritual protection. Continue to tend to your inner healing and ask for spiritual protection each day from the higher beings who love you. As you continue with such practices, a palpable field of positive energy accumulates around you, minimizing negative influences. On off days, this field buffers you from your own mind or factors outside of your control, such as astrological influences or other people's ego-driven actions. If some negativity does enter your world, its severity is minimized and you will recover from the disturbance more swiftly. You can honor this guidance through the spiritual protection exercise below. The second message of this oracle is that something of great value is at work in your world. Spirit works with tremendous subtlety, even when it is accomplishing a masterful stroke of luminous inspiration and powerful grace. You may not be fully aware of the divine protection being granted or of a negativity that was averted, yet you are being held in grace nonetheless. If you are struggling with some matter, know that spiritual protection has prevented the situation from escalating and shall ensure that the situation is corrected and resolved. The divine can assume whatever form will benefit the spiritual seeker to ensure their continued progress, facilitating the right things at the right time. There is no need to impose a limit on the limitless resourcefulness and creative generosity of the divine at play in your affairs. All you need to do is invite it in and trust. The healing process says, put your hands to your heart and say aloud, may all waters be cleansed, protected, and blessed for the greatest good. I open to the unconditionally generous compassion and wisdom that protects and guides all true paths. May the positive presence of light be awakened within me. May I be surrounded by divine protection and spiritual grace. May I effortlessly attract all that is needed for my highest good, for the spiritual benefit of all beings. And just hold your energy space there with that vibration. You know, these cards, when we get into these cards, talking about the Nagas, talking about the purity of water, you know, water, metaphorically speaking, is the element connected to love. It's connected to love. When the Nagas card talks about, you know, the pollution of water, how toxic is our quote-unquote love becoming? How is the toxicity in other people's love becoming more detrimental to the health of your own being? People that have a toxic way of loving, conditional way of loving. Well, if you're not doing for me what I want you to do for me the way I want you to do it for me when I want you to do it, then I'm not going to love you back. You need to love me the way I need you to love me. You need to be who I need you to be, or I'm not going to love you the way I do when you are doing and being who I want you to do, who I want you to be, and doing what I want you to do. That's poisonous. That's not love. That's not love. That's fear. Parading around is love. Someone says, oh, you're ungrateful. You're ungrateful for all that I give you, for all that I do for you. You're ungrateful. No. Your quote-unquote love is conditional. That's fear. You're trying to control me. It's not that I'm not grateful for what you do. I'm not willing to break who I am to be who you want me to be. Love wouldn't ask that of me. You either do what you do because you love me, or you do what you do because you expect something in return. One is unconditional love and one is not. When do we acknowledge that the quote-unquote love we're receiving is polluted? Polluted with conditions that are toxic. I want it done my way, and I want it done now. With no consideration for the other person and what you're actually asking them to do. That's not love. That's not love. It certainly isn't in alignment. If you want it done and you want it done now, well, do it yourself. And if you can't do it yourself and you need someone else, then you need to consider someone else and what they're asking of you in order to get what you want done. There has to be equal energy exchange in order to create harmonious connections. That's what the color pink is. Harmonious connections, heart to heart. Harmonious connections. My heart hears your heart. My heart understands your heart. My heart recognizes your heart. My heart takes responsibility to keep this energy equal so that gratitude can be exchanged. Whoever person number one is, that they're bitter, they're depressed, they hate life, they're living to die or waiting to die or feeling like they're dead while living, there's no fucking purpose, they're self-loathing through the roof and super fucking stubborn in being that way. Person number one needs to really wake up, right? If we talk about like the overall energy here. The overall energy. Continuing with the guidance cards from the Universe Has Your Back deck. The more energy and intention I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. And when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. Be unafraid. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of letting go of your wounds? Because that's how you've defined your character in the story for so long? Are you afraid of not hating yourself and hating your life? Like, are you afraid to actually enjoy life? And then what would happen if all of a sudden for the first time in your life you were afraid to die because you wanted to live so much? You were actually afraid that the universe was going to take your life from you because you just started to enjoy it? Like, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of losing things? Are you afraid of losing people? Are you afraid of losing your beliefs because, God forbid, you got to find better ones? Are you afraid of shifting your moral, code or compass into something that's healthier? That's maybe less selfish? Are you afraid of letting go of this, do as I say, not as I do type mentality because you're a fucking hypocrite? You can't take your own advice. You can give it, but you won't take it. You're a fucking hypocrite. You got soul work to do. You're a fucking hypocrite. Do as I say, not as I do. You are a fucking hypocrite. I'm gonna call that out. You're a hypocrite. Your energy is shit. Practice what you preach. That's integrity. That is what integrity is. You can't practice what you preach. You can't give what you want to receive. It's like people who refuse to be fucking faithful and loyal and committed relationships, but, you know, are fucking butthurt when their partner's not committed and loyal to them. You're a fucking hypocrite. You don't practice what you preach. You have no integrity. That's dishonorable and shameful as shit. Do as I say, not what I do. Fuck off. There's no high alignment there. I guarantee everybody like that hates their fucking life. They're constantly getting shit on, like, oh, whatever God there is must hate me, or no, there's no fucking God, how can there be a God, my life sucks. Yeah, because your energy is shit, my darling. So what are you afraid to get rid of? Bring more energy and intention to your faith. Be fucking fearless. Free yourself. When you think you've surrendered, and you've surrendered your ego enough, and you've surrendered your pride enough, and you've surrendered your fear enough, oh honey, surrender more. Surrender more. Bare your fucking soul wide open. Let the truth flow from you like it has never flowed before. Let the truth flow so fucking hard and so fast and in such a vast amount that tears fall from your face. Humble yourself. You've been fucking up for a long time. You want to double down? I'm specifically talking to person number 1. You want to double down? You've been in your fucked up energy for so long? You want to call me a liar? You want to double down on your shit? You can. Your self-loathing is only going to magnify. Your depression's only going to magnify. You're going to become more bitter, and you're probably going to be casting shade my way. Which is only going to further hurt you. You're only going to prove what I'm saying to you right now is correct. You got to wake up to the fact that your energy needs to fucking shift. You got to let your fucking tears flow and let the truth out and accept the fact that you've been fucking up, being a hypocrite. Holding people to a standard that you don't even fucking hold yourself to. And if you do hold yourself to the same standard, you're not matching up to it and expecting other people to. Fucking hypocrite. Surrender. Surrender to the version of yourself that is greater than you right now. Surrender to the version of self that is better than the you that you are right now. Because as we get into the Power of Love deck, the Remember card is discernment. Remember that you are developing the skill to distinguish love from fear and truth from illusion within your own fucking self. Within your own self. I guarantee you, person number 2 already has this shit down. Discernment. They know when someone's energy's off. It's not for them. Truth and illusion. The truth says, I know this person's not for me. The illusion says, but maybe they are. Maybe they could be. Love from fear. Love is vulnerability. Love is courage. Love is truth. Love is surrender. Love is gratitude. Love is consideration. Fear is control. Fear is distrust. Fear is doubt. Fear is worry. Fear is pride. Fear is denial. Fear is blame. Fear is anger and hate. This is what the fuck you're learning. Discernment. Where's your fucking energy at? Are you running on love or are you running on fear? Are you living in alignment with the truth you're picking up on, or are you fucking illusioned as hell? Hope is a red flag. Trying is a red flag. And believe me when I say, you don't need anybody else to forgive you. If you think you need someone else to forgive you and you're afraid someone's not going to forgive you, you don't need to worry about whether they forgive you or not. You need to worry about whether or not you can forgive yourself for not doing whatever it is you know you need to do in soul to lighten your fucking load. So that when you make it to the end of this lifetime and your soul is up against the scales of a feather, you ain't weighted down with fucking fear and regret. Did you do your fucking best? Or not? Because it's do or do not. There is no fucking try. You either did your best, and you know it, because if you did your best, you fucking know it. Or you didn't. Your soul doesn't want to hear that you tried really hard. No, you did or you didn't. Overall message? Truly, overall message. I think person number one, if they don't wake the fuck up, and I mean quickly, from the time whoever resonated to this message gets this message, whether you are person number one or person number two, I think person number one is on a serious fucking time limit. As far as keeping number person two in their life is concerned, or getting person number two back in their life is concerned. I think person number one is on a serious time limit. Either that lightning bolt epiphany is going to hit through that thick fucking skull, or it's not. Person number one is on a serious fucking time limit. Before their energy that's going out as a signal into the universe fucking comes back to bite them in the ass. Person number two, how I was talking about the Nagas being protective and shielding, I think that's exactly where person number two is. I think person number two is being divinely protected right now. For real. Like, there's no fucking shade that person number one can cast at person number two that's going to hit person number two. There just isn't. There just isn't. I think person number two, as of right now, can give or take person number one. I don't think they're affected by person number one. And whatever person number one tries to do, throw their fucking weight around or whatever, I don't think person number two is being phased. I think the universe will step in before person number one can actually do something to hurt person number two. Person number one can't do shit. Okay? So if you did resonate as person number two, please understand person number one can't actually fucking hurt you. By the time they figure out some maniacal fucking plan and their bitter self-hatred to hurt you in some drastic way, this'll fucking get you. I think that it's gonna royally backfire. Royally. They will be taken out the fucking story. The story being written, they will be taken out. That's when their character goes to jail. That's when their character fucking, gets hit by a bus type shit. Like, they're gone. They're gone. They got fucking kidnapped and taken to fucking Mars. They were abducted by aliens. You know, something fucking happens that they absolutely fucking cannot make it to you. Oh, they have no car. Oh, they lost their internet. They can't even get online. Oh, their phone got shut off. Like, you know, they're out of the story. They're out of the story. They don't hold an important supportive role in the way things unfold. Person number 1 is going to turn into a nobody of the past. And I do think person number 2 is going to manifest exactly what they're intending to manifest. Whatever that is for person number 2. So, with that said, I have faith that this will resonate to you however it's meant to resonate to you in divine time, that it'll serve you well. And until next time, guys, make sure you drop the like button if you haven't already. I greatly appreciate it. Leave me comments. Let me know if it resonated with you. And I will see you next time. My love and support to you always. Take care.